While Stargate has always had a fantastic main cast, it's often the recurring characters that shine the most in the franchise. In this case, we're talking about Colonel Albert Reynolds, leader of SG3, one of Stargate Command's elite off-world teams. Someone who has numerous times saved and backed up SG1, the flagship team. I'm Captain Jack and welcome to Stargate Central. If you'd like to see more Stargate lore deep dives, hit that subscribe button and tell us what you would like to see next in the comment section below. Albert Reynolds first made his debut appearance early on in Stargate SG1, appearing in the Season 2 episode Touchstone. Reynolds is based at Area 51 and holds the rank of Major, seemingly working for the National Intelligence Department, aka the NID. Reynolds actually hails from Scottsdale, Arizona. He would study physics at the University of Texas, ending his studies with a degree in science. He would join the United States Air Force and become a test pilot based in California. In 1991, he would see action during Operation Desert Storm, where he commanded a squadron. While stationed at Area 51, he first met SG-1 under the command of Colonel Jack O'Neill, who would come to the facility under the pretense of delivering important paperwork. In reality, SG-1 was looking for a piece of stolen alien technology, known as the Touchstone. Reynolds would give the team a quick tour of the Area 51 labs before leaving them with Colonel Harold Mayborn. It seems Reynolds had access to the SG-1 mission reports, as he knew of Dr. Daniel Jackson's notes from Ernest Littlefield's planet. Later, Major Reynolds witnessed a permanent iris being welded onto the Antarctica Stargate alongside SG-1 and Major General George Hammond. In 2001, Reynolds had transferred to Stargate Command and had been promoted to the rank of Colonel. The newly promoted Reynolds would head up SG-16, tasked with studying and activating an orbital weapon on the planet of Valona. He worked alongside Major Samantha Carter to adapt a Tari Nakoda reactor to replace the weapon's power core. After the ascended being named Orlin made his presence known to Major Carter, Reynolds attempted to stop him and shot Orlin in the process. Thankfully, Orlin saved Reynolds, Carter, and SG-16 from the overloading reactor and destroyed the weapon in the process. In reality, the Valolan civilization had been destroyed because of the weapon's existence. In 2003, Colonel Reynolds had been reassigned and put in command of SG-3, one of the top Stargate Command teams. He would travel to Viz Urban alongside SG-1 to locate a rumoured cache of ancient weapons. While SG-1 talked to the locals, SG-3, under Reynolds, encountered a de-ascended Daniel Jackson. Reynolds later assisted Dr. Jackson and Jonas Quinn in overpowering the Jaffa forces of Anubis to bring aboard Anubis' mothership and begin their mission. Later that year, Reynolds and SG-3 accompanied SG-1 and Master Braytak to the homeworld of Ramius. Their mission was an attempt to capture one of the newly encountered Cull Warriors. In your typical fashion, the mission would go sideways, and the Cull Warrior shot Colonel Reynolds. His condition worsened while SG-1 and SG-3 were held captive by Ramius. Upon the Cull Warrior killing the Jaffa and Ramius, the Tari managed to escape and return to the SGC. In 2004, around a month after first contact with the Cull Warriors, Colonel Reynolds assisted Colonel Jack O'Neill in the search of a recently destroyed Alpha site. They were searching for the missing in action Major Samantha Carter. While O'Neill searched for Carter, Reynolds located 12 survivors, including Major Green and Mizell. Later on in the year, Reynolds, alongside SG-1, 3, and 5, travelled to P3X-439 in an attempt to recover one of the Ancients' repository of knowledge. He worked to defend the Stargate alongside Major Harper of SG-5 until SG-1 could fall back. During their defense, the teams were up against Alkesh and Death Gliders, sent by the Goa'uld Anubis. After Stargate Command changed leadership, Reynolds worked under the command of the newly promoted Brigadier General Jack O'Neill. After SG-3 had accompanied SG-1, under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Carter, to P2X-887, their mission failed when SG-1 vanished and Colonel Reynolds had to evacuate. He later worked with Major Paul Davis to brief O'Neill on the possible rescue missions. When Lieutenant General George Hammond headed up a mission of the USAF Prometheus to the Pegasus Galaxy, Colonel Reynolds and SG-3 were handpicked by the former SGC commander to join him on the team. Their goal was to find out what happened to the Atlantis expedition, as no one had heard anything from them by this time. Prometheus was seemingly boarded by a Cull Warrior, after the ship had answered a distress signal. The crew, including Hammond and Reynolds, were stunned and ringed to the Alkesh. In reality, it was Vala Maldoran who had hijacked Prometheus for her own mission. Eventually, Dr. Jackson regained control of Prometheus and journeyed back to pick up the crew. Reynolds was left on board the Alkesh to pilot it home, showing great knowledge of the ship's systems. Unfortunately, Vala ringed aboard, overpowered SG-3 and ringed them back to Prometheus before stealing the Alkesh back. In 2005, Replicators launched a full invasion of Stargate Command. Colonel Reynolds helped General Neal in repelling the invading force. The Colonel and General rescued Sergeant Siler, who was trapped on the lower levels.
Use two of those things.
Sir?
It's a blast door.
Hearing no escape, the team dialed the Alpha site to escape, as the base self-destruct sequence had been initiated. Unfortunately, the team was unsuccessful, as an incoming wormhole from Dakara thankfully saved the day as the Dakara superweapon destroyed the replicators. In 2006, Colonel Reynolds backed up SG-1 on a mission to P2M-903 to rescue Teal'c, after he had been captured by one of Ball's clones. Following this, he would later report back to Stargate Command after the discovery of a crop known as Cussa. He returned with a sample for Dr. Bill Lee to study. During this mission, a member of SG3, Lieutenant Mooney, had tasted Cussa and became addicted to it. Colonel Reynolds had to restrain the lieutenant due to how addicted he became to the crop. By this time, Reynolds was second in command of Stargate Command, after Major General Henry Landry, then followed by Lieutenant Colonel Carter. During the same year, Reynolds ventured with Teal'c to check on the Sodan. He and his team, along with SG-22, were investigating when they found out they were stranded on the planet, because the individual known as Volnik had removed the control crystal from the Stargate. Eventually, they could return home after both Teal'c and Lieutenant Colonel Cameron Mitchell killed Volnik and retrieved the crystal. Reynolds would assist in the tracking and hunting of a mysterious creature on P9J333. Using the Sodan cloaking allowed interdimensional parasites to come into our own dimension. These parasites then mutated creatures, attacking locals and the SG teams. Reynolds, Teal'c, and Val were able to defeat one of the creatures. Unfortunately, due to a member of the Trust stalking Colonel Mitchell and General Landry at General Neal's cabin in Silver Creek, more parasites had come through and mutated local creatures. Colonel Reynolds assisted SG-1 in tracking down and killing the creatures before they killed anyone else. By 2007, Colonel Reynolds and SG-3 were in the thick of it with the Ori invasion of the known galaxy. On a mission to P9C-882, SG-3 and Reynolds were requested by the local people to assist them in their fight against the Ori. He reported back to Stargate Command, and SG-1 were dispatched with Arthur's mantle to protect the village. Later on, Reynolds and SG-1 were dispatched to Dar Echelon after Teal'c was overdue in reporting back to the SGC. Reynolds located an injured Master Braytak and contacted Jaffa forces on P8T-365. They opposed the Ori occupation. These Jaffa informed the Colonel that the individual known as Arkad was mining Naquadah for an attack on Earth. Reynolds joined SG-1 on a mission to Arkad's world. During the Ark of Truth missions, Reynolds and his team were stationed on P6X-437 when they were approached by a prior of the Ori. He wished to talk to Earth's representatives regarding their surrender. The prior was granted an audience with General Landry at Stargate Command, knowing that his powers would be neutralized by the SGC's prior disruptor technology. By this time, the Ori had 7 warships in the Sol system, waiting for word from the prior on whether to attack Earth or not. Of course, the Ori did want to convert Earth to Origin rather than destroy the planet. Reynolds would take the prior's staff away from him and escort him through the Stargate to the SGC, where he was confined. Ultimately, this prior was eventually exposed to the Ark of Truth light, which revealed the truth regarding the Ori's lies and evil intent. Thanks to the prior's conversions, all the other priors in the Milky Way galaxy were enlightened through the psychic links they had through their staffs. The Ori warships eventually left the Sol system and presumably returned to their home galaxy. Colonel Reynolds, alongside SG-1, proved instrumental in defeating the Ori forces. Colonel Reynolds was played by Canadian actor Eric Brecker, who played the SG-3 team leader in 16 episodes of Stargate SG-1 and appeared in Stargate The Ark of Truth movie. What did you think of Colonel Albert Reynolds in Stargate SG-1? As background characters go, it was always nice seeing him pop up in various episodes of SG-1. He proved himself extremely loyal to his team, SG-1, and Stargate Command on more than one occasion. For more Stargate videos, hit that follow and subscribe button. We'll see you next time.